Former AEW creative team member Jimmy Jacobs reveals that he and AEW president and CEO Tony Khan would listen to Jim Cornette's podcast whilst on the road. An update on WWE talent reactions to the Def Rebel themes has been revealed. TKO member and WWE president Nick Khan reportedly is going to be a big part of the TKO boxing venture. Dustin Rhodes is going to be in action on this weekend's edition of AEW Collision. MVP questions just where the Young Bucks have been. TNA World Champion Joe Hendry says he would like to see TNA DLC at the upcoming WWE 2K25 video game. CM Punk says that the WWE press conferences are a shoot, and Nikki Bella opens up on her WWE return. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's begin with a surprising bit of news when it comes to Tony Khan's podcast listening habits, including listening to a show by a very vocal critic of his. Now, Jim Cornette's podcast, The Drive-Thru and The Experience, certainly can be divisive, with Cornette building up a cult following for his perceptions and his thoughts and his viewpoints on the state of professional wrestling. Of course, Cornette is not afraid to call out those in the business he is not enamored with, whether on a personal or professional level, or just critical of what he perceives to be as bad wrestling. Now, two names who have counted themselves as listeners to Cornette's show are Jimmy Jacobs and AEW president and CEO Tony Khan, with Jacobs revealing to Body Slam how he and Khan would tune into Cornette's show on long drives between AEW shows. He said, quote, "We would drive for hours from one show to the next, and Tony would always be there talking about wrestling, his vision for AEW, and just soaking in everything. It was a chance to really bond over the things that matter, like how we want to shape the future of wrestling," Jacobs said. Tony and I would listen to Jim Cornette's podcast during those drives, and it became a thing. Sometimes we'd agree, sometimes we'd disagree, but what was most important was the passion behind what Cornette said. It was always about respecting the history of wrestling and understanding what makes the business work, Jacobs continued, adding, "Cornette's a polarizing figure, but you can't deny that he knows wrestling. Tony would often ask me, 'Do you agree with Jim on this?' It wasn't about agreeing with him necessarily, more about understanding where he was coming from and applying that knowledge to where we were doing and what we were doing in AEW." Now, Jacobs was a part of AEW's backstage team for a little over a year, departing the promotion in late 2024, citing burnout as the reason he decided to leave All Elite Wrestling. Now, if you watched the Royal Rumble last weekend, you would have maybe had a similar situation to many fans, which was, is the entrance music in WWE this bad nowadays? Now, if you're not a fan of Def Rebel, the people that produce the WWE themes, you're not alone. Numerous fans pointed out their frustration with WWE Music Production Group, with the theme songs remaining unidentifiable for many talent during the men's and women's Royal Rumble matches last weekend. A number of talent in WWE that Fightful have spoken to say they feel the same way. Now, Fightful had indicated in the past that no talent Fightful spoke with have interacted with Def Rebel producers for input on songs. Beyond that, Fightful have been told by talent that several have expressed unhappiness with the quality of theme songs and have made attempts to get their previous themes back. WWE, according to Sean Ross Sapp, have also made requests to change a number of themes that talent vehemently push back on. Some talent have managed to keep their previous themes, while others have not been so lucky. Very few people on the roster that Fightful have heard from are happy with the Def Rebel themes. A number of incoming talent also preferred to bring their own themes with them. Now, for those asking when the Def Rebel contract or agreement is up with WWE, Fightful say they do not yet have that information. Now, Nick Khan, of course, a spearhead of WWE's success over the last few years, and he could be a spearhead for a future TKO project. Between being a member of the TKO board of directors and his duties as WWE president, Nick Khan has quite a bit on his plate. But that's apparently not enough for Khan, who is reportedly now set to get involved in a project that will take up even more of his limited time. On the latest Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer was discussing the rumored new boxing promotion, which is believed to be headed up by Khan's fellow TKO board member, UFC president Dana White, and Saudi Arabia's chairman of the General Entertainment Authority, Turki Al-Sheikh. While it's not been officially announced, there's a growing belief that this venture will grow to include Khan. Quote, Nick Khan is supposed to be a major part of that as well, Meltzer said. A lot of the rival promoters had a meeting in Las Vegas about how they're going to combat this. Almost sounded like a famous meetings that was arranged when Vince started his expansion, and they all got together, all the rival promoters got together and said we're going to put up a united front against him, which didn't last very long at all, of course. But now the boxing promoters know they've got a real threat. And in their minds, it's Nick Khan, Dana White, and Turki Al-Sheikh as the three people running this new boxing venture. If Khan is involved in the new boxing promotion, Meltzer believes that Khan would end up running the business side of things, while White and Al-Sheikh would focus on other matters. How Khan's involvement would affect his duties with WWE remains to be seen, though as noted, it would be a heavy increase on Khan's already massive workload. Of course, tomorrow it's another episode of AEW Collision on TNT, and more matches have been confirmed for the broadcast, including the Ring of Honor Tag Team and Six-Man Tag Team Champion Dustin Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes will be in action on Saturday's edition of AEW Collision. AEW announced the match on social media. Of course, Rhodes is set to be in action next week on the February 12th episode of AEW Dynamite as he faces off against MJF. This comes after a face-to-face confrontation between the two last week on TBS. Now, MVP, he's questioned just where are the AEW EVPs, the Young Bucks. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin are at the top of the AEW Tag Team division as the reigning AEW World Tag Team Champions. They won the titles by defeating Private Party recently. Appearing on Mostly Sports with Brandon Walker and Mark Titus, the Hurt Syndicate were asked for their thoughts on two legendary tag teams. When asked about FTR, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, Lashley replied, quote, very talented. When asked about the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, MVP replied, when was the last time they went to work? They took some time off, didn't they? We haven't seen them in a while. Lashley quipped, quote, the old Bucks. Now, the Bucks are set to defend their IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships at New Japan's The Beginning in Osaka. They haven't been on AEW television since October, where they dropped the championships to Private Party before Private Party dropped them to Lashley and Benjamin of the Hurt Syndicate. Of course, we've seen this cross-promotional relationship between WWE and TNA Wrestling, but could TNA be involved in the upcoming WWE 2K25 video game? Well, WWE 2K25 will be available to play in March on all systems. The latest offering from WWE and 2K Games features a Bloodline story mode, the new island feature, new environments and match types, and much more. But TNA World Champion Joe Hendry would like to see a major addition in the future. Quote, something that would be wonderful for both companies and most importantly the fans. Can you imagine if we had TNA DLC? That would be huge. That's not just the modern roster like myself, that would be classic AJ Styles. That would be exciting, Hendry said while speaking to Ariel Helwani on the Ariel Helwani Show. Now, future DLC packs for WWE 2K25 have not yet been announced, but would you like to see TNA DLC in the upcoming game? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comment section below. Now, CM Punk, he's famous, or infamous, shall we say, with some of his performances and some of his tirades during professional wrestling press conferences. He's no stranger to wrestling press conferences, delivering the most infamous press conference in a wrestling space anyway, of all time back at AEW All Out 2022. Punk has been part of multiple press conferences since his return to WWE, but hasn't spoken for nearly as long as he did after winning the AEW World Championship from Jon Moxley. Speaking to Chael Sonnen and Daniel Cormier on Good Guy, Bad Guy, Punk was asked about WWE press conferences. He said, quote, at the press conferences, you're just sitting out there. You're in real time fielding, asking and answering questions. It's a shoot because there is nobody telling you what to say. There are no writers. You don't have a script. Somebody asks and you answer, he said. Now, of course, Punk is set to compete in the Elimination Chamber match at the WWE Elimination Chamber Premium Live event. Of course, in that match, he'll once again share a ring with John Cena like he did during the men's Royal Rumble match. Now, speaking of the Royal Rumble, in the women's Royal Rumble match, we saw the return to the ring of WWE Hall of Famer Nikki Bella. Now, Bella made her return to the ring at the WWE Royal Rumble, entering the women's Royal Rumble match in the coveted number 30 spot. It was Bella's first match since competing in the 2022 edition of the women's Royal Rumble match. Speaking on the Nikki and Brie show, Nikki commented on her future in the ring. She said, quote, is this this a one-off, or is she here to stay? Keep tuning in. You will see another Fearless Nikki appearance sooner than later, that is for sure. I'm definitely doing more than what I just did on Saturday, she said. Nikki teased, hopefully Brie mode will be by my side soon. More on that to come. Of course, if we get any more details on that, we will let you know. When it comes to the in-ring status of Brie Bella, Nikki's twin sister, she's not wrestled since also in the 2022 Women's Royal Rumble match. Of course, that match was eventually won by Ronda Rousey. But there you go, guys, the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. You can also become a member of the WN365 roster. All you have to do is click the join button. The link's also in the video description below. You get badges, emojis, exclusive members-only content, priority access to future Wrestle News 365 videos as well. So be sure to join the membership roster, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there, subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.